Hello everyone, this is Rare Conversations. My name is Richard Friend from Ricardo Amigo Real Estate. We are coming at you today for another podcast from Via Todos Santos. These are the downtown condominium units. These were the first units that were developed downtown. And we are coming at you from apartment number 108. We're almost poolside. And there are still 4 units available in this unit, in this building. And I thought it would be nice to have a podcast today. I'm with Aaron Balducci of Ricardo Amigo Real Estate of Rare. He is one of our newer agents, and he's been, almost a year now?
It's 2 years.
2 years,
2 years
wow.
This March, time flies.
And Aaron and I are going to discuss the current market of Todos Santos and how we got here and where we think it might be going. Obviously, we don't have any crystal balls, but we do have knowledge of the market, and we do have some statistical data that we've compiled from MLS and stuff like that. However, I'd just like to start by saying where we're at in Todos Santos and what's going on. Aaron's an agent. He's also a business owner in town, and I think there's a unique kind of experience happening in Todos Santos, and you could say the world, kind of this post-pandemic way of living / economy / just kind of to me, it's kind of a new way of life. And I think we're seeing that here more in Todos Santos, Pescadero, and this area. We recognize more of people working remotely and being able to live wherever they like. And one of our slogans at Rare is, "We get why you're here." And I think that what we're going to speak about today with the market trends that are happening here, I think not only do we get why we're here, but I think a lot of people are starting to understand why we're here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share a few, just some information on Todos Santos, what's been happening in kind of 2021 was the best year in Baja California for real estate. And this is going to be kind of a discussion, an open discussion on market trends and what we're seeing. And lately the podcasts I know have been more community oriented. So we're going to get into real estate, talk a little bit about the rental market. And what I'd like to do is just kind of start with, I'll let Aaron speak on, let's talk about the focus of why we get why you're here. Why do you believe people are coming to this area?
Well, I think a lot of people have found not only the weather great here, that's a given. We have 320 plus days of sunny weather, but it's also a sense of freedom here. I think it's wide open still. There's loads of land. There's loads of things to do recreationally, mountain bike riding, trail running, surfing, all of those things. But there's also a community support, I think, that allows people to explore the outdoors, to explore whatever it is, whatever interests they do have here. So I think Baja really lends itself to new beginnings for some people, and for others to take up where they left off. And now that people are able to work remotely, why not live in somewhere sunny and beautiful?
It's a good point. I think the what Aaron's speaking about has also changed kind of the dynamic here, where we used to be more of a retirement community. The activities and the working remotely has made us more, I think, of a millennial family. We've always had the surfing, but now when you add the biking, the hiking trails that have seemed to really get popular during COVID and post-COVID, I think that we are now known for hiking, biking, all the outdoor activities that go along with with this area, and I think that's been an attraction. I also think that you look at it's no longer just that retirement community, although our baby boomers are still our main focus. I think that demographic is changing significantly.
Right, and I think, let's face it, during the pandemic, it was like get outdoors, be outdoors, social distancing, all of those buzzwords that were happening now, and Baja allowed for people to be outdoors because it's just beautiful here. Why would you want to be inside unless it's to eat and maybe sleep? But I mean, even with that, you want to be outside as much as you can. You know, the vitamin D, the sun is good, and all of the other things that come from being in the fresh air. And yes, it also is bringing in a younger crowd here who, with a growing community, we have better schools now. We have more activities for kids. You know, there's a booming restaurant business now in town, so there's loads of places to take your family out to eat that's other than just tacos, although the tacos are fantastic. But it's just it's a great place to live, to work now, and to explore.
It's a good point, and you know, we're seeing more and more people from all different areas. If you look at the flight schedule to Cabo, I think that's an indication of we're getting flights in daily, nonstops from New York now. We're getting, you know, still our West Coast, Northwest, you know, Seattle, Portland, Oregon, Vancouver. But now people are coming, flights are being directed to Cabo. They've expanded the airport and they're coming from everywhere. And I think with that, you know, people are finding Todos Santos is no longer this, it used to be called this secret jewel, the hidden gem, you know. That's no longer relevant. We are a small community that has actually, in my opinion, has grown up.
Yeah, we're on the map.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And so with that comes the development, with that comes the change. And I think what we've seen in our market, as I mentioned earlier, 2021 was a record year for real estate in most areas. Here, we saw an influx, you know, when a lot of people were leaving cities and flocking to an area where they could feel safe, comfortable. As Aaron mentioned, living outdoors was a big part of it, and you could do that here. And so we were getting people from all major cities in the US, but we were also getting a large influx of people from mainland Mexico in the cities in Guadalajara, Mexico City. And if you look at what was trending there, Mexico City has grown considerably. Guadalajara has grown considerably with foreigners.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing as well. We have a large expat community, but I have to say that I think the Mexican community, and I'm not just talking local based, I'm talking about people from mainland Mexico who have come over and seen opportunity, wanted a different alternative lifestyle, and just wanted to be, you know, away from the city. That has increased significantly. And with that, I'd like to segue into, you know, so the 2022 started out amazing. Like the first 6 months of 2022 went higher than 2021, but it also was a higher price point.
Right.
So 2021 just boomed. We didn't know what was going to happen after, you know, when this hit in 2020, everyone was kind of waiting and seeing, and there were a few months where everything was closed down. We really didn't know what that was going to look like. As a business owner, and Aaron as a business owner, we were like, well, you know, let's see what happens. I mean, did you closed up shop, right?
Yeah, we had to close up
Yeah.
shop. So we were told we need to close up. We closed our doors and held our breath to see when we would be able to open up again.
Aaron owns, let me put in a plug, Aaron owns a local surf shop called La Catrina, and he moved during this time to a new location out in the Las Brisas neighborhood of Todos Santos. He was downtown and he moved up there, and you've got a lot more space, and I think you're a lot more comfortable. But during that period of the pandemic, initially, you were closed for a while.
Yeah.
We had to close up office. Everyone was working remotely, and we didn't know what that was going to look like. And all of a sudden, July of 2020, it started to just, people were like, hey, what do you got there in rentals? What do you have there, like, for sales? All of a sudden, it was the busiest summer we had ever seen down here. It blossomed into that season, and it just continued through 2021. And then the first half of 2022 accelerated. And the numbers are quite significant. I mean, we had numbers that went from literally not twice as much, not 3 times as much, but I think the sales in 2022 were like 208 million in total sales on the Pacific side, which is like, in 2021, it was 180 million, which in 2020 was probably about 60 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really kind of crazy how the numbers have escalated, price points have escalated, and it's not slowing down.
Yeah, nobody sees it slowing down. And I've talked to, colleagues at Rare and other friends in real estate around town working for different companies. And everybody's sales seem to be solid and seem to be trending, at least, if not on an even keel, on an upward trajectory.
And it's like we do have this bubble, because from what I understand, and I look around at different markets, and I see that, people are talking about recession, people are talking how mortgage rates went up and now they're back down to a comfortable level in the States.
Right.
But people are saying how the housing market in the States has slowed down. People are no longer, they're no longer kind of bidding or going above market price. And here, when we had that slowdown, it was just a slower time of year here. August, September, you had a little bit of a lull. October picked up significantly. I would say that pre-Christmas was probably a little slower. So November, Thanksgiving, and into Christmas might have been a little slower, but Christmas and post-Christmas and into the onset of the first month of 2023 has been amazing. I mean, it's been, the numbers for January of 2023 outweighed 2022 for our company.
Right.
And I mean, in your opinion, what are you thinking that? Is it more inventory? Is it more stuff on market? People recognize that, hey, you know what? I don't want to miss this market.
I think it's, people still feel like they're getting good value here for their money. And I think in comparative markets, if you're looking at a market in, the Southern California market or Central Coast, you're looking at comparatively for what you can get in an area that's a coastal community like we are here, you're getting, a lot less of a product, a lot less bang for your buck than you are what you can get here in Todos Santos, and people recognize that. And like you were saying, getting back to getting here, it's a 2-hour flight for some people, it's a 3-hour flight for some people. And it's either you get in a plane, fly for 3 hours, or you drive for 3 hours to your vacation home in California. And why not come to a place like Todos Santos, where you're in a different culture, you're in a different geography altogether, and you can really get some great value for your dollar. And I think people are recognizing the value that's the good value that's in our real estate market. And so that I think that's really keeping the market still a very strong seller's market.
I think it's a really good point, and we speak about this in some of our sales meetings. So I've been down here 22 years. You've been down here a significant amount of time.
17 or 18.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we look at it just from this based economy, and the prices have gone up here and the cost of living has gone up. But in relative to what people are in maybe the US, Canada, and other parts of resort areas in Mexico, we're still kind of, that reasonable real estate. Now, I don't know how long that's lasting, because we have gone up, our price point, median price point has changed significantly.
Right.
But I think there's a new part of our market that we're seeing, which Cabo and San Jose had seen prior, their biggest part of their market is condos, and we've never had condo sales. And I think that's one of the reasons I chose this spot, because when they built this, it was really slow as far as sales goes, as far as downtown condos didn't exist.
Right.
And so this was kind of the first of its kind. We didn't have, like we do now, this condo markets that's, it started out in Cerritos and it's happening there, and you're seeing it pop up. There's more downtown stuff, and I think that's going to be, whether it be condos or just multiple residences, I think that's going to be a big wave here in the future. Like it or not, development is happening here.
Well, I think condos also allow people to get into the game with a little less money. And sometimes you don't want to take care of your place. What's great about a condo is that it's lock and key. There's a property manager here, there's a gardener here, there's a guy to take care of your pool. And if anything goes wrong, you just make the phone call. So for a lot of people, peace of mind is, I think, what drives the condo project.
It's funny because we still have the strong, to me, the majority of our clientele is, you had spoken about freedom earlier. I think the freedom of not being in a gated community, I think the freedom of being outside the condo association, most of our clients I still think fall under that umbrella.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that, I know one of the reasons I came down here is because, and I talked about this in other podcasts, I just was tired of being told what I had to do, what I didn't have to do. And that freedom was one of them, culture, freedom, weather, and the fact that, I live and let live down here, that attitude of, they call it tranquilidad, serenidad. It really is prevalent here. So that feeling that we have, I think resonates with most people. Like, they get it,
Right.
We're not Cabo, we're not La Paz,
Right.
but we sit in between, 45 minutes away from each of those destinations, where airports, medical facilities, shopping, if you want the box stores, they're all there,
Sure.
but they're not here,
Right.
which is kind of nice.
And it's close enough, but far away enough.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And like you said, there's still plenty of raw space, empty space. We are experiencing some traffic, but that's because they did a kind of the beautification of downtown, where they put in sidewalks, put in lampposts, and took away parking.
Right.
So I'm seeing like the first road rage going on. It's not this. But also, I think the rental market in Todos Santos, Pescadero, the individual residences, because there's not a large resort market. I mean, there are some hotels that have just, Rancho Pescadero and a couple of boutique hotels,
Sure.
but there's not that strong hotel market. So the rental market here is incredible, and the return of investment, the ROI on some of the residents, like we're literally averaging above 10%
Yeah.
on our ROIs,
Yeah.
which is an amazing return.
It's an amazing return. Anything over 6-7% ROI, and pat yourself on the back, but 10, 11, 12% on some of our places is unheard of.
And these are not, to me, in the overall market of Mexico and even in internationally, people are paying good money for rentals, and you can't find rentals here. Like
Right.
long-term, short-term, it's just not, in this building alone, in this development, every unit is either rented long-term or owner-occupied.
Right. And I think we're seeing more and more long-term rentals here in our market, because people are seeing the value of this town, of living here, the quality of life here, the food, the weather, the community. All of those are pluses on spending time here. Plus, it is more expensive. It's more expensive to live here than it would be on, a mainland town. But take that into consideration. We're a peninsula, so the only way goods and services are getting here are either by boat or by a trucked in down the one highway we have that connects us to Tijuana. That's not an easy thing to do, and so yes, you expect to pay for more goods and services.
That's correct, and I think that's it, where everyone's seeing that. Like, it's not just us that have seen an increase in food products and construction materials and all of that.
Right.
But you're right, we're on a peninsula and that does have an effect. The other thing I think I want to like to speak about is, so we have this amazing real estate market that we've been fortunate to be a part of, right? I have a saying that I'd rather be lucky than smart, right? and I've fallen into that category of we're in a strong market and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. Now, I think that eventually we need to level off because I don't think a market can sustain for that period of time, nor should it have to. I think eventually it has to level off as price, but I don't see that happening for a while. And obviously, I don't have anything to back that up by other than the past couple of years and before this 22 years of living here.
Right.
I can honestly say that in the past 2 years, I've seen more building and more growth in this area than the past 20 years before that.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, there was the financial crisis of 2009, which sort of put everything on ice down here for a while. But just recently, everything just seems to be exploding, literally. Like everywhere you look, there seems to be a team of workers in the back of a truck headed to a job site and materials moving this way, materials moving that way. So the building and the growth is happening quickly right now.
The world has changed, and Todos Santos has changed with it. And it still, to me, still has that small town charm. It still has that aura, that energy that I want to be a part of. The local people, the culture, it's just a relaxing, and I think that's the attraction, and the safety of it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people come here, they come here on vacation, and they feel safe.
They do. I mean, statistically, if you want to look at statistics, the Baja is one of the safest states in the country. Hands down.
All the hype that you hear about Mexico, and I've never felt that ever here.
No.
You know, and I just think that people are finding out, like, oh my God, that's Mexico? Like,
Right.
that, you know, wow.
Right. Well, remember that the Baja Peninsula wasn't incorporated into the Mexican Republic until the mid-70s, I think. So a lot of Mexicans don't even know that Baja is a state. It's like, well, isn't it still a territory? I mean, there's this sort of nebulous idea around like Baja, and I think a lot of people are like, where do you live? You're in California. No, I'm in Baja, California.
That's
well,
right.
What is that? And so it's still on people's radar, but not really. And so I think in a lot of ways, Todos Santos, Baja California Sur is still coming into its own.
Agreed, and it's funny, you know, you go to the mainland now, people do know. Like, they used to be like Baja California Sur, oh, California, no. Baja California, Cabo. Oh, yeah, Cabo. But
Right.
now you could actually say Todos Santos, and
Right.
they're like, oh yeah, Todos, yeah.
Yeah.
I need to go there.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, so the market trend right now, just for example, we've gone from 2020, where the medium house sale was probably in the neighborhood of 300,000, 350, and now it's gone up to about 600,000 on the average,
Right.
I would say. And that has happened within a 2-year period. You know, property values we've seen when, you know, I remember when I first got here, property values I've seen go below $10 a meter. There are property values now at $300 a meter. I mean, it's just really taken off, but there's still those median level deals that are out there. There's still those houses, as you mentioned, the condo market. People can feel comfortable as far as maintenance, as far as being able to get in. And now we're getting residential developments where we're getting the 30 house development or the 16 house development where it's an individual residence and they're going to be coming in at 450, you
Right.
know. And I think that's going to open up another part of our market. You know, there are people that have reached a certain age that are selling, right? They for health reasons, or they want to be closer to their family. And they're going back, and that seems to be making room for the people that have been coming. And then there's all the new construction and new building that also is taking place.
Right, right. Yeah, there definitely seems to be a turnover of inventory right now. The inventory is almost replenishing itself. Not necessarily with new inventory, but inventory that has been sold once, maybe twice, and people are leaving for whatever reason, and new folks are coming in. And getting back to your point, it's not just a retirement community anymore. It's because a post-pandemic, a lot of people were working remotely. You have a whole new demographic of folks that are still employed in the States or in Canada or in Mexico City or wherever they're from, but can work remotely, and so why not work from Todos Santos?
And I think that also we had spoken about like the world changing. I think that it's become like the industries that have been created through applications, through tech, through all of this, make it kind of easy for people to be able to work out of their homes creating stuff. And this is a creative environment. This really, I mean, we're known for art. We're known for our, the community is known for artists and writers. But I think also we're seeing a lot of new talent here as far as multiple industries that I never even knew existed, quite frankly. And that's what we're seeing. We're still in an art-based community. We've become a gastro-oriented community. We've also become a festival-oriented community.
Sure.
And all of this, I think, brings I think it reflects the people that are coming in and purchasing in Todos Santos, right? People that come down for a music fest or an art festival and say, this is my place, We're getting that still, and yet we're also getting the more sophisticated, the tech people that come down here,
Sure. Sure, and again, it's close by and far enough away at the same time, so people can feel like they're really getting an experience that's a legitimate experience, a legitimate cultural experience to leave the United States, to leave Canada, or to wherever you're coming from, to come to Todos Santos is where the desert meets the sea. There's very few places on earth where you can have that experience. But it's close. It's still close to LA. It's still close to Dallas or points in the Southwest, and that makes it really attractive.
It's funny, they just came out with the foreign population and what that demographic looks like. And number one was U.S. citizens living in Baja California Sur. Number two was Canada. And number three was actually Cuba.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Argentina, and then European countries.
Interesting.
So, with this growth and with this, with the population growing, with the town growing, I think I just wanted to speak about community service. You had mentioned community services, what outdoor activities, and I think the schools, the private schools and public schools, they're really flourishing right now.
Yeah.
So the other thing I think that we need to be aware of is that infrastructure and services for what I'll say like rec centers and stuff like that. I think that's going to be the next thing to happen here, because we need to provide some entertainment for kids so they have stuff to do after school.
Right.
And I know that you just put in kind of a skate
like a skate spot
in your shop, right?
A little skate spot. We had some friends from the Northwest who came down and donated very generously their expertise and their time. And we built a little cement skate spot in the back of the shop. And it's great because we have, kids from the community, from the neighborhood coming by every day, girls and boys, who'd never skateboarded in their lives. And now they're there every day. Aaron, podemos pasar? Yeah, sure, come by, enjoy, have a go. And they're there every day and they're hanging out and they're together and they're being kids and they're exploring and they're trying something different and they're not on their phones, and it's just it's a great it's a great thing to see, and it's something that I created with some great help of some friends. And I think it is important having recreation centers of some sort in town that can draw kids in to learn and to explore. We've been talking about a public pool where we can have swim lessons and maybe a swim team and maybe water polo and those kinds of things. And that kind of center, it's like a crowd draws a crowd. And so if kids are there, more kids are going to want to be there, and staying fit and being healthy and learning how to swim. We're surrounded by an ocean, and it's amazing how many kids in town don't know how to swim. They'll go to the beach with their families, but they don't swim in the ocean. And that builds confidence, and that's something that they can explore. There's supervision of lifeguards, and so it would be safe, but it's also going to be, I think, great for just the community in general to have something else to do.
Right, and there's going to be a lot more people are putting in pools, a lot more developments are coming in with pools. I think a nice rec center for a town, be it Pescadero, be it Todos Santos. I also think that we are situated on the ocean between the mountains. I think we're going to see, different activities. We've got biking, hiking. I think we're going to see rock climbing come in.
Yeah.
So I think a rock climbing wall would be really cool
fun.
in a rec center.
Yeah.
I also think that just, the emphasis on football, which is, down here is super popular. Football, baseball. They've got a beautiful stadium here. They've got a stadium in Pescadero. But I think just creating activities, even if it's just art-based activities, after-school art, something. I remember growing up just going to a youth center and hanging out with other kids, whether it was playing basketball, playing a board game, doing something active, and just, for mind or body. And I think we're going to see more of that as well down here as part of, and I mention this because to me there's a responsibility if we're selling real estate and, the town's growing and we're part of that. I think we need to think in that realm as well.
And I agree. I think there's a sense, and I get this from not only from working at Rare, but in general, people love Todos Santos so much that they want to give back.
Yeah.
And the nonprofit community here, the people who are starting different programs like the Padrino Foundation and the Palapa Society, people are giving back to a community that's given so much to them, and it's just a great feeling to see people involved, people wanting to not only take but also to contribute, and that's really nice. It's a two-way street.
And I think that's kind of the majority of our clients feel that way as well.
Yeah.
And see it.
Yeah.
And so just going back, and we're going to wrap this up, but strong market still plenty of tours, real estate tours happening. We're still, the first month, as I said, January of 2023 was stronger than 2022. I'm looking at this and saying this trend is going to continue. We may see a level in the summertime where it may drop a little bit just for seasonal purposes. But I can say that I think we're heading in for another good year of 2023, and we're cycling again to repeat, part of the numbers of 2022 for sure.
Yeah, and I can back that up. It looks like Q1, it's been off to a great start, and we're always looking for new land and great houses to put up on our website and to list with our agents. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to have a great 2023.
I really appreciate you being here, Aaron, taking time out, and we're going to continue these Rare podcasts, Rare conversations. I think the next one will probably be focused on the rental market and what's going on with rentals. But I appreciate you taking time out of the day.
Thanks for having me. It's great.
Please, guys, this can be seen on Spotify, on our websites, and there's one other app that what's the other? YouTube. I'm sorry, YouTube. And please check it out. Check out our previous Rare Conversations as well. If you are interested in Todos Santos and the surrounding area, please, check out our websites, check out our Instagram, Facebook page. All of it's out there, and we're trying to give out as much information as possible. And just keep tuning in. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.